Okay, good morning students. Last session we deals about the nomenclature of coordination compound. How a coordination compound is named or how we deduce the formula of a complex or a coordination compound if you give the name of the same. Okay. Next about bonding in complex, bonding in coordination compound or bonding in complex. Coordination compound shows different types of bonding such as valence bond theory. Bonding in coordination compound is explained by using VBT, which is nothing but valence bond theory. Here, this VBT makes some assumptions. There are some assumptions which explain the bonding in complex on the basis of this valence bond theory. Okay, let us discuss one by one. First one is the central metal atom makes available adequate number of definite number of orbitals for hybridization. The central metal atom makes available adequate number of orbitals for hybridization. They arrange the required number of orbitals for hybridization. Usually n-1d ns-np or ns-np nd orbitals undergo hybridization. Usually n-1d ns-np or ns-np nd orbitals undergo hybridization. Depending upon that, inner D complex called low spin complex or outer D complex or high spin complex are formed. Here low spin means spin paired. Then depending upon the nature of this hybridization as well as the coordination number of the complex, there are different types of hybridization. That is, in the form of a table we represent it as coordination number, type of hybridization, and last column about the geometry of the molecule. Coordination number 4 means the type of hybridization is either sp3 or dsp2. If it is sp3, geometry becomes tetrahedral, and dsp2, the hybridization is square planar geometry. 5. sp3d hybridization, geometry is trigonal bipyramidal. If the coordination number of a complex is 6, it may be either sp3d2 or d2sp3. In both cases, the geometry becomes octahedral. The shape of the molecule becomes octahedral. These are the main points of valence bond theory, and in addition to this, That is actually not included in VBT, but it is contributed from this next theory, that is CFT. Therefore, in the form of a note, we have two important points that is not included in VBT. Once more I remind you, that is note. In presence of strong ligands, such as NH3, Cn-, CO, etc. That is amine, cyano, carbonyl, etc. The unpaired electron get paired. And in presence of weak ligands, F-, Cl-, etc., then unpaired electron remains as such. Unpaired electrons remains as such. That is, actually it is not included in VBT. In presence of strong ligands such as NH3, Cn, CO, the unpaired electrons get paired, and in presence of weak ligands such as F-, Cl-, etc., unpaired electrons remains as such. And next point, after hybridization, if a complex contain unpaired electron, it is paramagnetic. If it contains paired electron, it is diamagnetic. If a complex, it can be illustrated by taking an example. If a complex containing unpaired electron, then it becomes paramagnetic. And if it contains paired electron, that is, in certain cases, if a complex containing unpaired electron, they are forced to pair in presence of this strong ligand. That is, while writing the important points, you didn't include these 2 points. Actually, it is from next theory, crystal field theory. In order to understand how to represent the bonding using VBT, this point must be included. That is why in the form of 2 important notes. And we can illustrate the bonding by taking different examples. That is, first one, CONH3 6 3 plus CONH3 6 3 plus. In other words, hexaamine cobalt 3 ion. Hexaamine cobalt 3 ion. And question asked like this: using VBT, using valence bond theory, using VBT, you just identify, predict the hybridization geometry and magnetic nature. Hybridization geometry. First you have to identify the hybridization. From that you can realize what is the geometry of that molecule. And if it contains paired electron, that is diamagnetic, and if there is unpaired electron, that complex becomes paramagnetic. And the different steps involved in the elucidation of bonding or hybridization. First we represent First we represent the central metal atom, which is cobalt. You have a thorough idea about the first transition series, that is scandium, titanium, vanadium, chromium. Scandium, titanium, vanadium, chromium, manganese, iron, cobalt, nickel, copper, zinc. Scandium, titanium, vanadium, chromium, manganese, iron, cobalt, nickel, copper, zinc. Scandium with atomic number 21. SCT Vikraman, Ficon Nicosi, or school timil Vikraman fees Podukan Nicosi 21 means 21 starting from scandium. If it is scandium, the outermost configuration is argon core 3d1 4s2. When it becomes titanium 3d2 4s2, vanadium 3d3 4s2, like that. Chromium, there is an exceptional configuration 3d5 4s1, and also in the case of copper it becomes 3d10 4s1. And here cobalt with atomic number is 27. Therefore the outermost configuration, you know, for d orbital there are 5 orientation dxy, dyz, dxz, dx square minus y square and dz square, 3d 4s. And first point about this valence bond theory is central metal atom arrange makes available definite number of orbital. Next is 4p. And first you write or identify the central metal atom, that is cobalt. After that you write or you represent the valence electronic configuration, outermost 3d7 4s2. 3d7 4s2, that is outermost configuration. Next is you identify or predict the oxidation state of the central metal atom in the complex. The oxidation state of the central metal atom in the complex, that is cobalt exhibit +3 state in the given complex because NH3 is a neutral ligand. Charge of NH3 is 0, therefore the oxidation state of cobalt is +3. How a neutral atom attains +3 oxidation state? A neutral atom attains +3 oxidation state by the removal of 3 electrons. 2 electrons from 4s and 1 from 3d. Okay. Then after attaining CO3 plus configuration, the number of electron here 2 electrons from 4s and 1 from 3d, the configuration becomes 3d6, CO3 plus. Clear? First question asked like this: using VBT you have to identify the hybridization geometry and magnetic nature of a given complex. For that, the complex is given. First you identify the central metal atom in the complex and represent the outermost configuration. And here also you can see that NH3 is a strong field ligand. Then next is to identify the oxidation state of the central metal atom in the complex. After that, analyze the nature of ligand, whether it is a strong ligand or a weak ligand. It is very obvious that it is a strong ligand, and in presence of strong ligand, what happens? Unpaired electrons get paired. There are 4 unpaired electrons. After pairing, it becomes 2 pair. Here you can see that this one, first one already paired, and there are 4 unpaired electrons. 4 unpaired electrons are forced to pair in presence of the strong ligand NH3, and after pairing you can see that 2d orbital becomes vacant. Vacancy arises due to the pairing of this unpaired electron. Next you find out the number of ligands. Here 6 ligands are there. That 6 ligand, that how many ligands are there, they donate that much pair of electrons. Since 6 ligands are there, that 6 ligand donate 6 pair of electron, and the central metal atom is ready to accommodate that electron. Here 6 ligands, that is here a pair. In order to differentiate the electrons of the central metal atom as well as the electron donated by the ligand, I put in the form of a cross mark. Here 2 pairs, 3 pairs, 4 pairs, 5 pairs, 6 pairs. That is, the cross mark indicates the electrons donated by the ligand. And it is clear that is 2d orbital, that is d2, 1s, that is s, and 3p orbital, that is d2sp3 hybridization. That is here d2sp3 hybridization of CONH3 6 3 plus. Clear? And here the answer for the question, that is hybridization, is D2sp3. Geometry is octahedral. Magnetic property is, since all the electrons are paired, it is diamagnetic. Here, this inner d orbital undergo hybridization. That is why normally n-1d, ns and p, or ns and p nd orbitals undergo hybridization depending upon that inner d, d2sp3. And we can take another example which mainly involves outer d complex. Outer d. Okay, I think this is clear to you. And the question is same. Using VBT, predict the hybridization and geometry as well as the magnetic nature of COF6 3 minus. COF6 3 minus. Here hexa fluorido cobaltate 3. Hexa fluorido cobaltate 3. As in the previous case, the central atom is cobalt. Here F minus is a weak ligand, fluorido is a weak ligand. Therefore, the unpaired electrons remains as such. The representation 3D, 4S, 4P, 4D. They arrange adequate number of orbital, since the unpaired electron remains as such because it is a weak ligand. That is why I included in the form of a note, that is in presence of strong as well as weak ligand. In the former case, it is NH3, which is a strong field ligand. Cobalt 3D7 forest. Next, find out the oxidation state of cobalt in the given complex. The oxidation state of cobalt here is, don't confuse with this. Here the oxidation state is x plus 6 into minus 1 equal to minus 3, x minus 6 equal to minus 3, x equal to plus 3. Again plus 3 state, therefore CO3 plus. The configuration CO3 plus, here 2 electron or electrons singly occupied. It is also empty because 2 electrons from 4s and 1 from 3d is removed. That is why it attains CO3 plus state. Next, find out or calculate the number of ligand and analyze the nature of ligand. Here it is a weak field ligand. The unpaired electrons remains as such. Anyway, there are 6 ligands. They donate 6 pairs of electrons. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That is 6 orbitals are involved in the hybridization, and we can name it as sp3 d2. sp3 d2. In the previous case it is d2 sp3, isn't it? D2 sp3 is inner D complex. sp3 d2 is outer D complex. Inner D and outer D complex. And here sp3 d2 hybridization of COF6 3 minus. Then here hybridization is sp3d2. Since 4 unpaired electrons are present, they are paramagnetic. Geometry is same, that is octahedral. That is, from or by comparing these two, you can get clear idea what you mean by an inner D complex or what is an outer D complex, or a low spin complex or spin paired complex and a high spin complex. Clear? And we can do some more examples. And using VBT, you just compare NiCl4 2 minus is paramagnetic, while NiCN4 2 minus is diamagnetic. NiCN4 2 minus is diamagnetic. Then how will you explain on the basis of VBT? By using VBT, how will you represent this? Let us consider NiCl4 2 minus. Here the central atom is nickel. Nickel configuration (3d 4s 4p). That is nickel configuration 3d8 4s2. 3d8 4s2. That is nickel. Then find out the oxidation state of nickel. Here x minus 4 equal to minus 2, x equal to plus 2. Ni2 plus. Ni2 plus means 2 electrons from the s subshell is replaced, so that it becomes is vacant. Okay. Then you just find out the number of ligand and also what is the nature of ligand. Cl, again it is a weak ligand. There are 4 ligands, they donate 4 pairs of electron. The metal atom is ready to accommodate that 4 pairs of electrons. Already here it is paired, here also paired, and it contains single electron. And the 4 ligands are there, 1, 2, 3, 4. That is, 4 pairs of electrons are donated by the 4 ligand. The hybridization becomes sp3. sp3 hybridization. sp3 hybridization of NiCl4 2 minus. Hybridization is sp3, geometry tetrahedral geometry, and also magnetic nature is paramagnetic. It is paramagnetic because of the presence of this unpaired electron. That is the answer for this question. NiCl4 2 minus is paramagnetic. Clear? Yeah. Next is, we can also prove that NiCN4 2 minus, that is tetrachloridonickelate or nickel 2 ion, nickelate actually. Tetracyanonickelate 2. Tetrachlorido. Chlorido weak ligand, cyano strong ligand. And nickel oxidation, outermost configuration. (3D) 4s 4p, nickel 3D8 4s2, and here NiCN4 2 minus hexa minus 4 equal to minus 2, or again it is Ni2 plus. Ni2 plus is formed by the removal of 2 electrons, and you just analyze the nature of ligand. Here it is a weak ligand, here strong ligand, and in presence of strong ligand, unpaired electrons are forced to pair. These 2 unpaired electrons get paired, and after pairing there is a vacancy in the 3D orbital. Anyway, 4 ligands are there, they donate 4 pairs of electron, and the hybridization is DsP2. That is DsP2 hybridization of NiCN4 2 minus. NiCN4 2 minus. Geometry is square planar. In the table we represent, if it is 4, either tetrahedral or square planar, depending upon the hybridization, whether it is sp3 or dsp2. And also magnetic nature, since all the electrons are paired, it is diamagnetic. And by doing one more example, you get thorough idea about this. If any complex is given, you just go through the outermost configuration of the central atom. After that, write the electronic configuration. Next, you do how to find out the oxidation state of the central atom in the given complex. Next, what about the nature of ligands? Depending upon the nature of ligand, in certain cases unpaired electrons are forced to pair, and in other cases unpaired electrons remain as such. How many ligands are there? They donate that much pair of electrons. Next one, NiCO4. Tetracarbonyl nickel 0, because nickel is in 0 oxidation state. Nickel 3D 4s 4p. Here 3d8, 4s2. Since the nomenclature of this complex is tetracarbonyl nickel 0. 0 oxidation state means number of electrons remain same as in the case of nickel, as well as the complex number of electrons remains same. And one more point, since the 3d and 4s orbitals have almost the same energy, the 4s electrons get paired along with the 3d. The 4s electron get paired with the 3d. Then what happens? You know, transition metal exhibit variable oxidation state because of the comparable energy between outermost s and outermost d and s orbital. Therefore, these here 3 pairs are there, and after the movement of this 4s electron to 3d, they are also paired, and the 4s orbital becomes vacant, and 3p. Here 4 ligands are there. CO is a strong ligand, and in presence of that strong ligand, there are 4 ligands, unpaired electrons here, there is no unpaired electrons, and the 4 ligand donate 4 pairs of electron, and the hybridization becomes sp3. sp3 hybridization of NiCO4. The molecule is tetracarbonyl nickel 0 is diamagnetic because there is no unpaired electron. It undergoes sp3 hybridization and the geometry becomes tetrahedral. These are the example for explaining how valence bond theory exists in coordination compound. Like how we can explain the magnetic property, geometry, as well as hybridization of a complex on the basis of VBT. And next we discuss about the limitations of VBT. What are the drawbacks of valence bond theory? First one, it involves a number of assumptions. It involves a number of assumptions are there. Second, it does not explain the color formed by coordination compound. It does not explain the color formed by coordination compound. It does not explain the kinetic as well as thermodynamic stability of complex. Does not explain kinetic as well as thermodynamic stability of complex. Okay. Fourth one, it fails to explain the tetrahedral or square planar geometry of 4 coordinated complex. 4 coordinated complex. That is, it involves a number of assumptions. It does not explain the color formed by coordination compounds. It does not explain the kinetic as well as thermodynamic stability of complex. Fails to explain the actual geometry, whether it is a tetrahedral or square planar geometry for a 4-coordinated complex. Then it fails to explain the quantitative interpretation of magnetic data. Does not explain the quantitative interpretation of magnetic data. Then it fails to distinguish. Strong and weak ligands. It fails to explain or distinguish strong and weak ligands. That is why that is explained on the basis of CFT. That is, the various ligands are arranged in the increasing order of the strength, which is called a spectrochemical series. On the basis of that series, we can say that is NH3Cn-ZO, they belongs to strong field ligand, while the other belongs to weak field ligands. Okay, that is about valence bond theory. And next we have to discuss about this crystal field theory. Before that, you just go through this area thoroughly. Maybe expect 1 or 2 questions from this area, that is VBT. Okay. The next session we discuss about the crystal field theory, or simply called CFT. CFT overcomes some of the limitations of valence bond theory. Still there are some drawback, and after that ligand field theory is included, that is not included in our syllabus. Okay. Thank you all.